Hi, I'm Eleni from Galmatic, and as you know, we teach lots of teenagers car basic know-how tips. So we have school programs, we teach public horses, we teach defensive driving skills, and over the years, we have learnt a lot of little tips and tricks that we wanted to share with you. And we get asked similar questions at all of our classes. We teach about 10,000 teenagers a year, and in the year we see lots and lots of parents. So we just thought we'd do a live video on answering some of your questions that we get. So one of the main questions that we get is regarding driving lessons and driving instructor. So should I have a driving instructor first, or should I teach my daughter or son first? And what's the best mix of lessons from an instructor and from a parent? So something that we have in Australia, it's an Australian government initiative and it's a free program, is called Keys to Drive. And that program is free. You just sign up for it and you get one free driving lesson. Now, what is great about this program is that it includes the parent and the learner driver. So what happens is it starts off with some theory where they actually give you tips on how to teach your daughter or son when they're driving, and also tips for the learner driver for their skill level to increase. And then there's a practical component, and the parent actually goes in the car with the learner driver. So it's a great way to pick up some tips from a professional driver trainer. Now, we always say your kids have been watching you drive for 16 years. So you have already given them quite a lot of driver training. Sometimes we wish we hadn't done some of the driving that we have done in front of them. So some tips they've picked up aren't as good as others, but they've definitely been learning to drive from you for their entire life. So we say, why don't you start driving lessons with a driving instructor first? That way they're going to get some good basic skills and they can ask questions they might feel uncomfortable or nervous asking you. And if they're in a manual car, it's absolutely fabulous for them to do those first few lessons in the instructor's car, because as you know, driving a manual is a little bit trickier when you first start off. Now, we will put a link down below for our playlist that's for learner drivers. So everything we're chatting about today, we go into far more detail, and we've got some great free downloads that you can download from that playlist as well. So I'll make sure that I put it down in the description below. Question number 2 is usually about defensive driving. So is defensive driving a good idea for a teenager? Now, we think defensive driving is great for every driver. It goes over things such as risk management and how to reduce your risk while driving, and it allows you to learn skills and practice skills that you don't get to do while driving on the road. So it's fabulous for braking exercises, swerving exercises, and just seeing how your car does and doesn't react. Now, when it comes to defensive driving for a learner driver, we say it's best when they're actually on their Ps, when they're a provisional driver. So in Australia, we have a 2P plate system, which is red Ps and then green Ps. Green Ps is a great time to actually be on a defensive driving course, because you've got quite a few hours behind you, you're driving on your own, and it's usually that stage where you start to feel quite confident. So it's good to get those extra skills in place. So it's a great time to book them in. And it's also a great course for you to come and do in your own car as well, because you'd be surprised how many things you may be doing incorrectly over a long period of time that becomes habit. Okay, one of the other questions we got asked all the time is, what car basics do I need to teach my kids? Often we know we should be doing something, and it's actually a myth that we still teach our kids about cars and that we've got the car in the driveway like in the 60s and 70s and kids are working on cars. We teach about 10,000 kids a year, so 10,000 young drivers a year, and less than 10% have ever popped bonnet. So we've got a great playlist below that one of the videos tells you everything you can do just at the servo to teach your kids just a basic car check. Now, why it's important is it gets them familiar with their car, And it breaks down that barrier of the car being a scary thing and them shutting their eyes and avoiding any noises they hear, or pretending if I just ignore it, the issue will go away. It gets them feeling comfortable and confident to pop the bonnet and to get to know their car. So the basics, we always say, do it at the servo, which is check the coolant, check the oil, check the battery, check the hoses, fill the windscreen wiper up with water, and then of course put some air in the tires. Such a simple thing, but we often forget to do it regularly, and it's one of the most important things you can do to increase your car safety. So all those things can happen at the servo. Down in the description, we've got our playlist, which goes into much more detail about everything that you can do, and also some downloads that you can download for free. Another question we get is, what do we need to do to prepare them to go driving? So here's the keys. We've given you some lessons, off you go. So yes, some basic car skills, but learning to change a tire. Everyone in our class always loves doing it. They think it's so much fun. It also gives them that tactile way of getting familiar with their car, getting to know their car, understanding how a car works and how their tires work. But also, it's one of the things that late at night, you get a flat tire, you're not feeling safe, roadside assistance could be up to an hour away. Of course, we always say roadside assistance is great. Having someone change the tire for you quickly is fabulous. But if you're alone, if you're somewhere that you feel uncomfortable and you want to get out of there quick and you don't want to wait around for an hour, we can teach them to change a tire in under 15 minutes. So it's such an important thing. Make sure they all know how to change a tire. And then how do I choose a good mechanic? It's something that we talk about in our classes all the time. And in one of the downloads below in the Car Basics playlist video, it gives you a checklist on the pros and cons of a car dealership, of a local mechanic, what to look for, what to ask for, and just to get comfortable. Now, often when we've got our teenagers learning to drive, we book the cars in for them. But it's such an important experience for them to become accustomed to dealing with a mechanic and building that relationship with their car and building that relationship with their mechanic as well. So it's really good to get them involved in that. If you haven't got the time or the patience, or you don't feel you have those extra car skills to teach your kids, please watch those videos. Print off the downloads that we've got. Go through them with your kids. If in doubt, always just send us an email or send a message down below. Cruise over to the website. Get to know us, and we're always more than happy to help. We would love to come and teach at your school. So what you can do is get in touch with us, and we can give you information to pass on to your class teachers, your year advisor, to the school. We can grab the details from you and send the information directly, or we would love to see you in one of our public classes. We teach all over Australia, and you'll find that we often are teaching netball groups, or we have done several teenage birthday parties. So it's a great fun way to get the kids feeling confident behind the wheel. So feel free to add any questions you've got down below. We would love to answer them. We'd love to make videos for you. So thank you to everyone that gave us these questions over the last 12 years. And we look forward to seeing you behind the wheel at one of our workshops. Thanks very much. Talk to you next time. Bye.